Okay, we're good. Just had to make sure. All right.
Oh.
Sorry. Like I said, things are looking a little different in here. So I was like, let me just make sure we're good. So how was everyone's Thanksgiving break?
Really good. Before we get into like the details of all of our breaks, I want to give a couple of Platypus Posse shouts out. I felt like Miguel Fuller this weekend because I got recognized, if you will, more in one weekend than I have in like a year and a half. So it was very nice just to, I guess, know that A, people do listen and B, people know of me. So that was very nice. But that selfishly, of course.
You did once say that you are just a regular white bitch.
I could be
Those
any
are your
white
words.
bitch. I could be any white bitch on the street. So that's why it's honestly really special when someone recognizes that I'm this white bitch and not any white bitch.
I wish we could save that.
That's the clip.
Oh my God.
So shouts out to Amber, who I ran into, and I don't know if she wants me to blow up her spot, her workplace, but I was eating lunch where she works, and she said hi and it was awesome. And I wish we would have gotten a picture together. She's the Amber that always listens to our podcast while she's like running/jogging and stuff.
Beach Babe Amber?
Yes.
Yeah, she's doing her hot girl walks all the time.
And I
Okay.
didn't know she was that Amber. And like, so anyway, I'm like, oh dang, we should have got a picture.
Love her.
So shouts out to her. That was really awesome to meet her in real life. And then I was in the Target parking lot getting some of my order delivered by Nat, who was like, can I get a picture really quick? And I'm like, absolutely.
Aww.
I don't know where that picture is, but Nat tagged me somewhere in it. And then also I ran into Liz. Where did I run into Liz? I don't even remember, but I know I wanted to give a shout out to Liz too, who was like, oh, I know what it was, because I was at the nail salon and my lady was like, oh, your family, I think, is going to love these new holiday nails. I'm like, I think my daughter Maya's going to love them. And the lady was like, Maya, are you Holly? She was next to me getting her nails done. And I was like, yes.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I like that. By that time, I was like, I'm so famous. Just really cool, because I mean, obviously it's a little weird for me. Like I live in a city that I don't do radio in, so I don't hear it. It's like it's weird. It's weird. I don't hear the radio station that we're on. So sometimes I feel like I'm just floating out in the ether, and it was just really cool that people listen and they Platypus Posse with us. And so shouts out to Amber, Nat, and Liz.
I love that. I had a similar experience because I was in Florida, first in Key West and then in the Tampa Bay area for Thanksgiving. And I had a similar experience. It was like as soon as we got to town, Tuesday back into town, and we went to, I think it was Wawa somewhere in the Tyrone area. And as soon as we walk in, someone was like, Miguel? And I was like worn out from Key West and hungover and looking like whodunit.
Yep.
And I was like, immediately I was like, oh, hello. How are you?
Got it. Yeah. I'm sure I look like a troll until someone is like, Holly. And then immediately I'm like, oh, hey.
Hey, my eyes brighten up.
We've talked about that before. Like, just suddenly you're like, oh, someone. I'm not just a bridge troll that is going to the restroom. But anyway, yeah. So
yes, that was
that's
cool.
Awesome.
I was at the Clearwater Target, and one of the guys working the self-checkout lane, he walks up, and I hate when people start the conversation with, do I know you from somewhere? And I'm always like, no.
Nope.
I'm not going to say it first.
You better tell me.
You got to say it.
We just talked about this on a recent podcast, I feel like, where it's like, you can never admit that you are who you are. You have to make them say it, which is so weird, because it's like opposite of what my mom used to tell me. Or like she would force me to like go impose myself on people, which I think people, if they want to see you, they absolutely want you to do that.
Right.
But the shame and the horrifying like guilt that comes when you do it to someone who doesn't care, doesn't know you, would rather you didn't. It's too much to bear.
Oh my gosh. And
you know me from my show.
Right.
And they're like, no, I were you working at Target the other day? And you're like, you
right. That's why when he was like, where do I know you from? And I was like, I don't know. I used to live here.
You're always like waiting. You're like, I don't know. That's so weird.
I was like, because I know the moment I say radio, you're going to be like, I don't listen to the radio. So I was just like,
yeah.
Well, I used to live here, and I was like, I used used to do a radio show. He was like, oh my God!
Yeah.
And then he was like spouting off like all the things and all. And I was
You're like,
like,
bitch, you know. Then why you ask like you don't know?
Has anyone ever botched the name? Like Miguel and Halsey or something? Miguel and
Oh.
Molly.
Not in person, but I
No.
think people do call me Molly or
I think
whatever,
especially
some
when we
variation
first
of
started
Molly.
here in Charlotte, people would call in and be like, oh, I really enjoy Miguel and Molly, because they were just still getting used to hearing it. Or sometimes people just misspeak because they're nervous when they call the radio station, because it can be a little intimidating sometimes when you do that. So people have, especially at the beginning of being here, they did say Molly.
That wasn't my favorite thing, but that's okay.
I'm sorry, I just got distracted. I have the Today Show with Hoda and Jenna on right now.
Yeah.
And they have Paris Hilton on, and Paris Hilton looks like she looks like 20 years ago. Her mom, Kathy, bitch, looks like she did 20 years ago. Like, what plastic
they got
surgery?
Hilton money.
Girl, like that money is, I mean, that's magic. Like
they
that
got
is
that hotel money.
Literally, like I looked up and I was like, I didn't know Paris had a sister. What's and I was like, oh, that's Kathy Hilton, and she don't look like she aged at all.
No, that's
my God.
That's what the elite get. They get to look like they don't age, and the rest of us just over here trying to fight with our Botox that we don't even get their Botox. They probably only need to get Botox once a year, and our Botox runs out after 2 months.
I bought Black Friday snail mucin because it was good for your skin. It's one of those like TikTok viral things. It's basically like a serum, but it's a Korean face care. So that's what
Does
I do.
it have actual snail?
I think so. I mean, it's called snail mucin.
Oh, I'm scared for you.
I love
like
it.
Slug
I love it.
lime.
It's so
man.
dewy now. Like,
oh, I've been nervous too. I need to do it. I bought one of those bro mask things that I've seen on Instagram where it's for the underneath your eyes where you put the.
I'm afraid of those.
Yeah, me too.
Can I
But
tell
I
you
bought
why?
it.
Like the skin is so delicate right there. I feel like you put it on, it does whatever it's supposed to do, and then when you peel it off, aren't you just pulling that delicate skin? I'm confused by this.
I mean, I don't know. I bought it, and I mean, all the reviews were great because before I buy something from Instagram, I have learned now to at least Google it and see the reviews first.
Some of us should also learn that lesson.
So it came while we were gone, and so I just got it last night, and you put it in the refrigerator, and so I got it especially for after the radiothon, because I feel like by the time Thursday rolls around, I'll be looking real tired and real rough. So I was like, let me just go ahead and grab these for the radiothon just to make sure I don't look exhausted the entire time. So I'll report back and let you know how it goes.
Please do. I'm so curious.
Producer Kelvin, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was pretty calm. I think we started decorating for Christmas before we left to Georgia. We went to my fiance's side of the family in their house, and I promise you, I don't think anything really crazy happened. We just hung out. We went to Stone Mountain Park. We got to see some Christmas lights. I didn't have the best Thanksgiving dinner, I will say. TMI.
Oh no.
Why?
Let's just say my Ozempic is hard at work right now. I didn't even like this was the first time in like 30 years that like I didn't get seconds, I didn't get thirds, I didn't get dessert.
Maybe that's like you're relearning how to handle large meals.
Yes.
And that's how it should be. Like,
yes, that's how it really should be.
In all
It
honesty,
should be a
we
platter.
should just be eating one plate at Thanksgiving.
Right.
Well, like you don't eat like you don't eat 3 plates every other dinner of the year. What makes you think your body can handle 3 plates of not just food, Thanksgiving food?
Right. All the butter, all the grease.
It's too much.
So it was rough. I only made it halfway through my meal, and you know, it was that awkward like, hey guys, I gotta step away from the table for a second.
Ooh.
That's okay.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
But you know what? You probably are one of the few people outside of everybody that's on Ozempic
in
America that like walked away from Thanksgiving weekend not gaining 5 pounds. So that's it did it's that's why you took it.
It's what you're it helped you do what you're supposed to do.
It's so funny because like I was like, it's so weird because like because I'm on it too, but I'm doing like the pill, not the shot. And so like
you can do a pill?
Yeah, they have a dissolvable pill that I'm on, semaglutide. And so sometimes I can feel it working, and then sometimes I'm like, I don't feel anything. So, but there's also a little bit of self-control that has to come along with it as well.
Yeah.
Because like, no, Lord knows I've lost weight, you know, and when I was healthy for a minute, and then when I do eat bad, my stomach hurts, but I'm like, well, I'm enjoying this so much anyway, so I'm gonna keep eating. But like Thanksgiving, because I was like cooking and like just trying and grazing all day, by the time I sit down, I usually don't even eat. Like I haven't even finished my plate. Like Abe was picking stuff off my plate because I was like, I've been eating and testing stuff all day, so I'm actually really full by
Yeah.
the time I sit down. So I didn't eat a whole lot myself either on Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. He's just pour one out for producer Kelvin and his
Zimpy.
I just wanted some really good food, and the turkey wasn't dry as hell. It was juicy,
Oh,
delicious. Oscar's dad made this like incredible chicken fried rice too, which is like obviously doesn't go with turkey, but it was so good.
I was gonna be like, that's an interesting Thanksgiving choice.
It was so good. I couldn't have any of it.
Oh, it is sad when you can't have those
You're just like, I just want it.
delicious little tidbits.
Nothing tastes as good as skinny. I'm just kidding. I would never say that. I would never say that on the mic.
Right.
Right.
Holly, how was your Thanksgiving break?
It was good. It felt like it went by fast. Like by the time Friday rolled around, I was like, wait, I've been off for a week. I don't even know what I did. Like I hate when that happens a little bit, but it was really good. So I got my hair done, which was needed. And what do we do? I had like a bunch of just random appointments and errands to run last Monday. And then Tuesday, since I was off and Maya was off, and this is before she went, because she was at her dad's for Thanksgiving. So we took advantage of the day that we had that day and went to Busch Gardens because, of course, just to catch you up, typically I split my time between, Florida and Charlotte. And so I have a residence in Florida, So we went to Busch Gardens and, we have a pass and we love it. Now, Maya wasn't feeling great that day. She had actually just come back from her dad's on Monday. And I don't know what it is. She gets sick there a lot. Like she comes home and they'll be like, she had a little fever. I don't know. She's fine. And I'm like, oh, and typically she is fine, but we're just a little bit different on like, because I'm like, oh my God, that's a fever. Like this means that something's bad. But, you shouldn't over worry about it. So they don't. And I'm like, that's fine. So she came home, was feeling a little run down, but I'm like, I don't know if we'll go to Busch Gardens tomorrow if you're not feeling well. This woman hopped out of her bed on Tuesday morning and she was like, I feel good.
I'm ready.
Like, all right. So we go to Busch Gardens and she was like, let's just not do any rides because I'm still, and I'm like, okay. So there was a game at Busch Gardens, and I'm sure it's the same game at any place. Carowinds, they probably have one of these, or any like carnival or whatever. It's that ladder game where the ladder is anchored at the bottom, and then you climb to the top, and typically you just flip over.
Just flip.
Maya won that game last December and got one of those giant stuffed animals. So that's her favorite thing to do. And I'm like, all right. So we went to Busch Gardens. We saw the ice skating show and we went to see the gorillas. And then she's like, I want to do the ladder. And we had only, it wasn't a long time at Busch Gardens. We get to the ladder and they let me do like 8 tries for $20. And I'm like, have at it. But last time I forgot to video her climbing the thing. And in case she won this time, I'm like, let me just video just in case. There's a couple other people gathered around. They're like, no one ever wins these things. And I'm like, actually,
my daughter did.
My kid won one.
My kid.
And they're like, oh, that's crazy. And then they like wandered off. So I'm talking to the guy and I have my camera on Maya. This bitch won again.
Oh,
where's the video?
I have it. And like, this is, I didn't tell her this, but like she did, I'm watching her do it and she gets up and I was like, oh, she's so close. She's so close. But then as I'm thinking that to myself, the man's like, we have a winner. And I'm like,
oh, yes.
All right. I mean, yes, that's great. You did great. This stuffed animal, it barely fit into my SUV. And by the way, after she did that, immediately she's like, I don't feel good. I'm like, of course you don't, because you just expended every ounce of energy that your sick body had, probably, because you probably still not full well. So we got this thing home. It's taking up like a quarter of the room. That I'm like, what? Like her dad came over to pick her up for Thanksgiving, and I'm like, do you want this? He's like, hell no, I don't want that.
Like those things always seem like great in theory, and then when you have to deal with that big ass teddy bear, like
I know.
Are you gonna donate it or something? Or
as a kid, it's a reminder, like I won.
Yeah, I guess that's true. And like as a kid, I won one big thing one time, and it was like a point of pride that I still literally carry with me to this day. I don't even know what I won, but now she has 2 huge things and a third because it's some other thing that her dad got her one time, and I'm like, we have no room.
That's it. That's
and
it.
No room at the inn for this. Okay, I'm like, think about if you were visiting here on vacation, you couldn't take that with you.
No,
it'd be like
you'd be stuck.
Too bad, too sad. So anyway, I do have the picture. I'll send it to you. I should post it. Maybe I'll post it for like my what's it called? Like the November dump or whatever.
Yeah, we're coming up on the dump.
Yeah, exactly. So
I stopped at September, I think.
Yeah, I don't feel like you did one for October. Yeah, but anyway, so the rest of it was good. Thanksgiving was good. Miguel, my fiance and I had Thanksgiving dinner with Miguel and the rest of the gays. Which thank you for having us.
Yes. Absolutely. How was it for you with all the gays?
It was good. I mean, I felt awkward because I didn't know some people, but then like they were nice, and so I felt like, an interloper a little bit. 'Cause like, not only am I not one of the gays, I'm actively straight. Like, I mean, maybe not like super duper straight, but we're in a one would call a heteronormative relationship. So I was like, well, sorry to bring our straightness in. But the food was phenomenal. It was so good. And so then we kind of had to like quickly leave towards the end. And we talked about this on the air, but like I obviously didn't get any leftovers or anything because we had to dip out real quick. And so Miguel that night, I should have realized drunkenly was like, I'll get you some leftovers, girl. I'll come by tomorrow. I'll come by the house. And I texted him the next morning. He's like, I'm just waking up. And I didn't hear from Miguel.
Nope.
The rest of the time.
That
not
was
even
it.
that day. The rest of the vacation.
Morning after Miguel.
No,
He
I've
didn't
seen her.
even come by to see our new puppy or nothing.
No, I sure didn't. I was like, because it was like that day, I think, and this is always the problem with Thanksgiving because after Key West, where we're like, as soon as we get to town, it's like, we got to go shopping. We got to get Thanksgiving. We got to prep. And then it's Thanksgiving. And then we're like talking to people and drinking all day. So when we woke up, because we stayed at our friend's house that hosted it for us, like that Friday, we all were like, I literally cannot move. So we literally, because we stayed over that night, we like, we're just munching on leftovers the whole day. And we didn't leave the couch. Like we didn't. And then finally, like that night, I was like, all right, well, I guess we need to get out of y'all's house and go home because we've been here since Thanksgiving morning. But like we didn't do anything. And then it was like Saturday was like the final day to like see everybody. So that was just like we woke up. I wanted to pre-pack because I was leaving Sunday morning. And so Saturday was just like go all day. Like we were supposed to go see 2 different friends who like just bought houses over the past few months, and we're supposed to see their houses. We wanted to try to see Teddy, meet your new dog. We didn't get to do any of it because then everybody came to this like Saturday fun day.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, we'll have to just wait till Christmas when we're back. Cause it's just like, cause when you don't live somewhere, like
it's too hard.
Everybody wants to get their couple of minutes. And so that's why we were just like, we're going to be out in downtown St. Pete all day Saturday. Just wherever you can, just text us and then just find out where we are so we can say hi.
Yeah.
It was just such a busy trip. And just like yesterday when I got home, I was like, a friend was like, hey, do you want to grab dinner and, catch up on stuff? And I was like, no.
Why would anybody want to get together the day they got back into town after being gone on vacation? You just want to be in your home.
Yes, literally. I got home. I did do laundry yesterday, which I was very proud of. And that's it. That is all I did yesterday. And it was fantastic.
Good for you.
Oh my
I put up Christmas yesterday, and I had because my fiance had his daughter like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and like I was getting nothing done. So I was like, y'all go do y'all's thing. I am going to put up Christmas. And like a mad woman, I did it in 6 hours, and I just blur. But I finally did it, so that's good.
So Holly, you were talking about the food. So it was sort of like a collective effort Because usually we host Abe and I Thanksgiving, and I cook a majority of the sides, and people bring a few things. So I kept it very minimal this year. I did the mashed potatoes, or truffle cheesy mashed potatoes, and my mac and cheese, and the cheddar bay biscuits. How did you like the mashed potatoes? Because that probably, for me as a like amateur cook, mashed potatoes are always my hardest thing. Like every year I fuck them up somehow. Every year. And I've tried different, I don't know why, like it's been something that just has escaped me. But this, I feel like, was like, I think I got it. Like I think this is the recipe for me.
Truffle oil or truffle salt? What did you put in?
So actually it was truffle mayo that you put into the sauce. Yeah. Holly, what did you think?
It was good, but like compared to everything else, like you're asking the wrong person though. I'm not a big mashed potato fan. I just find it to be unnecessary, kind of boring when you are faced with all of the other amazing things that you have. And so I thought they were good, but that's probably the only thing I didn't finish because there was too much other good stuff.
Oh, I love mashed potatoes. I love them so much.
But they're kind of like wallpaper when you're dishing out collard greens and macaroni and cheese.
Now,
and
hold on. It depends. Wait, now it depends on who makes them. Now, I have had some mashed potatoes. I remember.
I mean, you can have bad potatoes, and then that's terrible. But even good mashed potatoes, like, so we get, like, whenever we have mashed potatoes for dinner, we get the Simply potatoes where it's in the carton, because they are spot on, phenomenal every time. And I would consider those good mashed potatoes. They're creamy, they're moist, they're delicious. But I don't even like those that much because I'm just like, I can take these or leave these. It's just kind of like it's a filler. It feels like a filler to me.
Not the filler queen.
I remember.
I like a loaded.
Yeah. Oh yeah, loaded.
There's so many different ways you could do potatoes. I guess maybe just mashed is a little bit not my favorite.
I remember going to a friend's house one time when I was in high school, and her mom did not put a lick of salt or pepper in the mashed potatoes.
Oh no.
And I remember taking a bite and I was like, don't make a face, don't make a face, don't make a face, don't make a face. And then I was like, do y'all have any salt or pepper? And then like, so I mean, this is like this family, like they were like the stereotype of like white people don't season their food, because then the mom was like, I think we have some in the bag. And I was like,
we didn't even have any salt ready to go.
No. And I was like, okay, girl. Well, that was probably the only time in my life I didn't finish mashed potatoes.
I did, like, and I just saw Melissa Price in the comments said, don't be a potato hater. Like, I love potatoes. Do not get me wrong.
Save that.
Now, hold on. I love some potatoes. You can even like boiled potatoes, scallop potatoes au gratin.
I like scallop potatoes.
I love scallop potatoes. Cheesy and sliced up is so delicious. Like those potatoes that you make, like when you're going to a family gathering in the north, you know what I'm talking about, where you have cornflakes on top of them, the cheesy potatoes with cornflakes. Oh my god. But mashed,
wait, hold on,
not my favorite.
I like good mash. It's just a good side.
I just like
I
could
a
have
good KFC bowl,
a bite full of them. That's a good mashed potato, and then be like, what's next?
Hold on, do y'all remember this what was that show called? Like My Freaky Eaters or My Strange Addiction?
on TLC.
On TLC, yeah. And there was a woman who only ate cheesy potatoes, and then like
me.
I know, I was like,
the kind with the cornflakes, you talking about?
Yeah, well, and then like there's a famous scene that people share.
Why were you so quick with it?
I know.
So quick.
And why is it that woman shoving food in her mouth on the plate? Like, what a terrible thumbnail.
And you know, some of these episodes are produced. This one looks pretty real.
No, I mean this one, like
cheesy potatoes is not, you know, like gassline or something like that.
Right. Oh, they don't have like pica or whatever that disease is.
Because like I don't know if they're gonna show it in this clip, because I just googled it real quick. But there's a famous scene where her husband is trying to get her to like take a piece of like a little broccoli, and it's like a single floret on a plate, and she tries to bite it, and she's like, and then she starts crying and running away. I was like,
I love that
incorporate-
clip.
Couldn't you incorporate the broccoli into the cheesy potatoes? Like that
No.
seems like a very easy throw in.
hold on, let me see if this. Hold on, this is. I just found this on TikTok.
4-year-old Kelly eats nothing but cheesy potatoes.
Yeah.
Noon and night.
I love cheesy potatoes. It's ooey gooey and just yum yum yummy. When I eat cheesy potatoes, I mean it instantly puts a smile on my face.
So technically, you should eat it every day.
Over the course of a year, Kelly consumes about 3,000 pounds of potatoes, 23 times more than the average American, and close to 1,500 cups of cheese.
It's definitely more than food. It's like crack to me. I gotta have it. My mom took me to a fast food restaurant and they had cheese fried fries there, and ever since I had those, I just fell in love with them.
Kelly's eating habits changed around age 4 when she visited with relatives. There, she was forced to eat food that didn't agree with her.
My mom told them that I don't like ham and eggs. They made me eat them, and I threw it up all over the table. Since that time, my diet has consisted of cheese and potatoes every meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, for probably 30 years. Can I get 3 orders of french fries, and can I have cheese put on those fries? I won't eat at work. I'll go through a drive-thru at lunchtime. I don't really eat in front of other people. I don't really want people to know how much I'm consuming.
Me and Kelly, we've been married 7 years.
You're cooking me. I'm out of here. When Patrick's cooking, I'm usually in the living room watching TV because I don't even like being in the kitchen.
Well, I want you to try this because it's the green vegetable. Every time I've tried to cook her a little something extra, she just refuses. Just try a little taste.
I can't.
Come here, baby.
It's
okay.
It's traumatic for me.
So it's like, to me, like it's funny, but then it's sad because
It's sad.
it is.
It's sad. Obviously, she has a disorder.
Right. There's something wrong. But like you have to look at the comedy of it, of that single. It was a Brussels sprout.
It's a Brussels sprout.
And she's just like, but I get it, because that's whenever anyone is like, Miguel, try fish, try shrimp, try anything seafood. That's me. Like I'm shaking, my hands get clammy. So like I completely understand where she's coming from. But
we
when
gotta get you to do the hypnosis thing.
yes, we
Yeah.
need to get a
wanna
hypnotist
see.
on.
That just makes me sad.
Oh, it
makes me
is.
so sad because that's truly, it's like a disorder. It's a mind thing.
100%.
Seafood that Miguel would like. I feel like your bougie ass would like lobster.
You would.
You would love lobster. Some
Yeah.
butter.
So good.
But I'm
yeah.
the same way as her though when it comes to any sort of food that's different. Like even like this past weekend, Abe ordered what was it? Octopus. And I was like, get that away from me.
no,
I
Now,
I'm not
that's a whole
here.
different thing. That's a whole different
Yeah.
thing because
Ugh.
I will pretty much try almost anything, but
Mhm.
it's like when you're looking at a tentacle,
Yeah,
Right.
It's not.
that's I'm not a fish wife. Like I'm not posted up on some sea shanty just cooking up whatever they caught today.
Right.
Like that's too much. Like I
Yeah.
don't want to see a tentacle
The-
and put it in my mouth.
Texture on my tongue.
Oh.
And I know like I've had it before and it's like almost chewy, like chicken almost, right? Not
mhm.
really, but sort of is.
Yeah.
And like if you get the flavors right, it's great. But no, the tentacle thing. The same thing with calamari. I don't
I
like
don't-
the ones that look like squid.
Me
I like
neither.
I like the rings. The rings
I
are
like
good.
the rings too.
But the
but
ones
you-
that look like squid.
I can't do it because they look like
Mm-mm.
little babies that you just pop in your
Yes.
mouth. So I give those to my fiance and he
So I
eats them.
can't.
I can't because I
Same.
don't like those. I don't like those. But I
Oscar
did
eats
want to
them.
say before we move on or keep this conversation going, so I give you your propers. Miguel, your mac and cheese was, I think, the best I've ever had it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, it was. Like I'm sure, and the potatoes were good. Don't
Right.
put your whole hat on the potatoes though. Like
Right. I was just happy that they weren't horrible
No,
because
they
I've
were
had some
good.
Thanksgivings where you could just see as people are trying, I'm like, fuck that up this year. Damn it.
that's fine.
But I could see people were like enjoying them. So that made me happy.
They were good potatoes. You're just asking the wrong person because mashed potatoes are not my Thanksgiving go-to. Like the sweet potato casserole, that's the potato that I want on my plate in my mouth. But the mac and cheese, I think you pulled back on some things and pushed forward with a couple others that for whatever the reason,
Oh.
the best.
Thank you. I think
What'd you
I
do?
I added because like I'm obsessed. Like I need to get truff to like fucking pay me. Like I
Yes.
love all things truff.
Yeah.
So I used truff salt in it instead of regular salt. That adds just a tiny little hint of a flavor profile there.
Yeah.
And then also I think I added a little bit more milk. And that was purely by accident. It was just because as I was pouring, because it was like chaos. There was like 3 of us trying to like maneuver throughout their kitchen, and their kitchen's not that big.
Yeah.
And so they were coming in with like a hot something, and I was pouring the milk, and they were like, kitchen or hot plate. And I was like, oh God. But I kept pouring, and I was like, oh fuck, there's a little bit more milk in there than I need. And I was like, that's fine, because I made more noodles than I needed. And so I think that was just made it a little bit extra creamier.
Maybe so.
And
Whatever
so-
it was, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And I mean, I hadn't had them in years, but
Right.
this was there. Like it was better than some. So
Yeah, because it's always different. So you never know.
yeah.
Someone DM'd me and they were like, have you ever tried to compete with Miguel with his mac and cheese? And I'm like, I have no interest. I have absolutely no interest to compete with. Like, you've had that recipe for like 20 years. Like,
Right.
I've just started making mine maybe 4 years ago. Like,
Well,
it's not perfect.
Doesn't need to be a competition.
No, and I was gonna say, like, I
No.
feel like because your mac and cheese is a little bit
No.
different than mine.
Yeah.
And so I feel like you can't really compare. Like, that's like comparing a hamburger to a chicken sandwich. Like, it's just like 2 different consistencies. Like, if you were using the base of my recipe, but you wanted to add a few things to it, then I could be like, oh, there's a competition. But yours is completely different in how you make it than mine. So there is no.
Yeah. Stop pitting 2 girls against each other.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Well, that part of Thanksgiving, because we spent it together, was really fun. But the beginning part of going to Key West for Abe's charity bike ride with all of our friends, I just want to give them a shout out here too. Team Active Hearts, and that they're every person that rides in the Smart Ride, where they do 165 miles from Miami to Key West. They have different teams. But collectively, they raised over $1.2 million for HIV/AIDS services. And it's always so emotional, but I think this year it was just really more impactful because it's the last year.
Right.
And so everybody was just like in tears and just so happy that they could raise that money that will go a long way. But I have to give a shout out to one of our friends, Connor, who lives in Buffalo and flies down to do this ride. Last year, homeboy broke both his arms first day of the ride.
I remember.
So
oh my
like,
God, I forgot all about that.
yeah, so he has like rods in his arms. Like his husband had to like wipe his butt. I mean, like it was bad. I mean, we felt so bad for him last year, but I got to give it to him. He got back on the horse, did rehab or physical therapy, got back on the bike, and came back down this year to do it again. And then
No, wait, no,
No.
God, please, no. No.
No, bitch.
Miguel, no, please don't make this a sad story.
it's not sad. It's not sad. He's fine. I will start with he is fine. But they were apparently going across one of the bridges in Key Largo. And his bike hit one of the grooves or ridges or whatever when it goes between the street and the bridge, and his tire just got caught in it. And so then his bike and him went and he hit the side of a car that was passing by. And then he thankfully came back over to the shoulder, but his bike then was trampled over by another car. And so his bike was completely, this is like a $10,000 bike, completely destroyed on the first day. I felt so
maybe
bad.
this ride is not for him to participate
Well,
in.
we were like, because he's probably like out of everybody that rides in their group, he's the most experienced rider. But we're like, maybe there's something between Florida and you on a bike. You just shouldn't do it. Like even like a casual, because we all like when you're in Key West, you usually rent a bike and that's how you get around because the island's so small. And we were like, should we just order you Ubers everywhere? Because even just being on a bike in Florida, we're scared
They have
for
one
you.
of those like things that people pull as like a taxi.
Yes.
Just get in one of those.
Oh my gosh, we felt so bad for him. But he's such a good sport about it. He was like, I'm frustrated, but I'm glad that we were at least able to raise the money. But I was like,
That's just stop testing the universe. The universe said, this isn't for you. This isn't for you.
Oh my gosh. I was like, Lord Jesus. But all the guys were so fun. And it's also cool too, because we have some straight guys. It's not just gay guys that do it. And then when you see the riders come in, like you see people that you wouldn't think would do a 165-mile bike ride. Like there was someone in their 70s who did it. There are people that are, bigger in size that you'd be like, oh, okay, get it, girl. They were huffing it through for it. So it was just a fun time. But then I got to tell you this part before we head out. So we normally have stayed at this place called Alexander's Guest House, which is like an LGBTQ resort almost in Key West. And it's not clothing optional throughout the year, or it is, but for this weekend, they allow like women to come and stay there. So that's where we've stayed before, but we wanted to save a few dollars. So we stayed at this place called Equator. It is the clothing optional one. Now, Abe handles all the booking and everything for our trip to Key West. So I just didn't think about it. And so I flew in Saturday morning and I got there. And so he was like, here's the information. When you go, they'll be ready for you.
Oh,
So-
they will.
So I get my suitcase. I walk into the lobby and I'm getting all the information. And he goes, okay, well, let me show you around for all the amenities. And so then we go out through the doors and they have this big pool. And he's just like, all right, so here where we keep the towels, and here's where we do breakfast. And then there's a guy with a big old dick walking straight through. And I was like, oh, shit, I forgot.
You're like, put your dick up.
Swanging.
Oh, no, me, you don't have to.
Swanging.
I just wasn't expecting it because I forgot it was clothing optional. So I'm just like, okay, there are the towels. There's the continental breakfast.
There's a
There's a big dick.
Big old dick.
It's just staying at places like that. Like, I wish I had that confidence to do that.
I couldn't
Because
imagine.
I can't.
I would love
I
it.
just don't know.
I would love it.
I bet
and
you would.
I
Right.
would thrive.
and we have some friends that like love being nude, and like there's nothing sexual about it. They just like being in the buff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, especially when your friends are doing it, and then you're like, I'm not gonna look. I'll look a little bit. I'm not gonna look. I'm not gonna stare. Oh, dang, girl. Okay, I'm not gonna look. I'm not gonna.
I would. Yeah. I don't know. I would look at my friends.
Mm.
I don't know. You try to avoid it.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be obvious about it, but I mean, like, if they get out of the pool or they're walking towards the pool and you're just
Listen here.
looking.
Listen here. If I don't care if you're my friend or a stranger, if you are parading around naked, I'm gonna look at you.
Right.
Save that. Save that.
I can't. It can't be helped.
Wait, Holly,
It's-
would you like if we went to a nude resort and I was
That's why I
nude?
can't do it. I
would
can't.
you
I can't go. I can't go. Because I'm gonna be looking at everybody. Not even in a sexual way. I
Right.
don't think. I truly don't think that. I'm like, oh, that's interesting how their body is shaped. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Mhm.
I think
It's just a natural curiosity.
Right.
It is. It is. Like, I don't know how you wouldn't. It's almost unnatural to not look, which is why you're having to be like, don't look, because it's like
Right.
natural that you should want to be like, oh, that's how your titties go. Okay.
Yeah.
Do they?
That's
do
how
you,
that.
do your
No.
thing hang low? Do it.
Yes, I would be like, oh, this is.
Off
I was talking
mic.
about my titties the other day. I was like, see, it's like, you ever see that movie? There's a movie with Cameron Diaz. Doesn't even matter. I can't remember what it's called. I
Mm.
think it's called The Sweetest Thing. Anyway, she's like lamenting the fact that when she was younger, her boobs were perkier, and she
Mm.
was only like 28 when this movie came
my
out.
gosh.
So whatever. But like, I think I have good boobs. I like my boobs a lot. And I happened to be naked in the bedroom, and my fiance was like, I was having a very normal conversation. I was like, well, after we do this, I think we need to go to the bank. He's like, I'm sorry, you are so attractive. And I'm so turned off by you right now. You're just standing, you're
Shit.
naked. And I'm like,
Right.
oh, thank you. I was like, my boobs, though, He's like, what? What about them? I'm like, in the mirror, I'm like, if you do this, you put your hands up above your head. You're like, they used to be like this, and now they're like this. And they used to be like this, and now he's like, they look great no matter what. And I'm like, I think they do
Oh.
look pretty good. So, but they're just, They're not as perky as they used to be. That's all.
No.
I would be looking at ladies' boobs.
Right. Save that. No, yeah. Yeah. A lot of our friends got nude. I did not.
Which ones?
You're gonna name check them on the podcast.
No, I'm trying to think. Is anybody you would even know? I could tell you off the air, but no, I don't think anyone that you've met didn't get nude.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, no, they didn't. But there was this one guy who, man, I don't know where he's from, but he would just be on like one of the pool floats, just like sunbathing in the pool.
You gotta put sunscreen on your PP. Like,
I'm sure he did because, girl, that's the only thing the sun is catching because it was so big.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. Like, every time we would be coming and going throughout the day, he would just be out there sunbathing with it out. And I'm like, that is probably the biggest thing I have ever seen before. And he's just like, sup?
I mean, if you
got it.
Dicks and dudes are so about their dicks. Like, if you happen to have a big one, I'm sure you're just gonna put it out anytime you can.
Right. And I was like, I am not that proud. And I am not about to. Let's see. Teresa said, we used to go to a gay campground in Florida that had a clothing optional pool, mostly all men. I will just say that there is certainly a lot of different types of wieners.
There you go.
Just didn't want any, just looked.
Yeah.
See, there you go. All right. Well, something about there.
Love it.
But yeah, it was a fun time in Key West. It was really, really fun.
I'm glad.
Yeah. So here we are. We're back. Radiothon. By the way, we have our Radiothon this week. We'll talk a little bit more. We're going to have a special podcast tomorrow on Tuesday because Wednesday and Thursday, we are going to be broadcasting from 6 a.m. until 7 p.m. both days for our Radiothon.
It's a lot. Hey, we got to make tomorrow's podcast short and sweet because my flight is at like 1:45.
Oh.
So.
Wow. Well, you know what? When I was at the airport TPA yesterday, it was really quick. But Charlotte Douglas, like yesterday when I got home, my Uber driver, I had to meet him where you like rent cars because he was like, it'll literally take me 30 minutes to pick you up.
Damn.
So he was like, so just FYI, Holly. But you should be good. But this was holiday travel, and so you should be good by tomorrow.
It still gets so backed up though. I do taxis. I don't even bother with Uber because taxis
still
are
do those?
And they're, I mean, I do it and I have no problems, no complaints.
Producer Calvin, what's your social media?
At Kelvin Live, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Add me on PlayStation while you're at it too. You know.
Mm-hmm.
No, well, what if someone's new? They haven't listened. This is their first time.
Oh. BSSY Killer. The only thing that's missing is you.
Holly, what's your social media?
Radio Holly on most of the big ones.
Mine is Miguel Fuller. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Be Real, and on Peloton. We will see you all tomorrow.